Did you know there's a mod fully dedicated to turning Minecraft's rendering into a ray engine? And it's completely free and on Modernth right now. It's called Photonics, and it offers a solution to ray trace shaders. The funny part is, this mod is so unknown I had to ask their Discord for answers on how it works. And luckily I got a reply pretty much explaining the whole process. And I really find it interesting. But before we get into that, I'd like to go over some tests. In these first clips, I'm running it in my upcoming heavily modded mod pack called Dark Chocolate, which was actually requested by one of my subscribers. This mod pack has over 350 mods, and the Photonics mod still runs at over 50 FPS and 5K. I also realized after recording these I was playing in a render distance of 44 chunks, so yeah, it's pretty insane. Yes, I'm still going to get comments on how that number isn't good, but you still have to understand how good this is considering all these factors. What's so wild to me is seeing BSL with ray tracing. So the way the Photonics works is it takes a very specific version of the BSL shader pack, and I guess it recalculates the way the lighting works and turns it into a ray trace shader pack. Something along those lines. But basically what this means is we're getting BSL with ray tracing. It's only possible when these two are combined, BSL and the Photonics mod. But I just think that's so cool. I'm sure by now everyone knows BSL isn't exactly my favorite shader, but I think with Photonics installed, the ray trace version of BSL has now easily become one of my top 3 shaders of all time. Also, I apologize for the wait times in my upcoming milk chocolate mod pack. It was actually supposed to be approved last week, but I guess it was just backlogged due to the holidays. I've already contacted Modernth and I actually got an answer. They said it's in the queue to be uploaded, so hopefully we get it in the next few days. I'll be sure to post and update y'all when it's ready. So I ran some tests here. First, here's it compared with Rethinking Voxels, which uses path trace simulation shadows. You can kind of see the imperfections in the block lights, which Photonics actually does a great job of fixing. I don't believe this is an issue specifically with Rethinking Voxels. I think all RT-based shaders do this when run solely on Iris, as Iris obviously doesn't have like its own built-in ray engine. But I did notice when running Photonics and BSL, this problem just doesn't exist. On a separate test, I switched to my mod pack Chocolate, which has now been pretty decently optimized, and I'm running this in 1440p. As you can see, the frame rate is just incredible. Like, I'm consistently pushing past 100 here, and really with like minimal lag spikes as well. And I get I'm running on a 4090, I will stress that. And I really do think a lot of like lower end cards could run this as well. Do I recommend running this on a lower end laptop? No, but it's not going to kill it. You could probably get some decent frames out of it. Now sadly, there's no real way for me to compare the performance with this, with and without the mod, because the version of BSL it uses doesn't ray trace without Photonics installed, but what you can trust me with is how good it performs. The usual lag spikes from an RT based shader have been minimized, and overall it runs pretty smoothly. Obviously, since we're still utilizing OpenGL, ray trace shaders are not going to be the most practical thing in the world, but I still think they're really cool to look at. Like, just look how beautiful they look. Once we get VulkanMod to develop shaders, we'll really be able to finally push past some of these software limitations. Alright, before you completely get your hopes up, I want to be 100% honest. There's one huge limitation with this mod, and that's the fact version support is very limited. I hope sometime in the future the dev considers adding this to more versions because the mod has so much potential. Besides Focal Engine, which I actually already did a video on, this is one of the only mods that adds implementations of its own ray tracing engine into Minecraft. I think that's pretty cool, but I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts in the comments section. Also, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my new members on the channel. It's the continued support and growing of my channel that's really helped me make better content. Alright, so at this point you're probably wondering how Photonics even works. How does a mod just differ from normal RT shader packs? Well, earlier I did say I entered their Discord and asked some questions about the mod. I was chatting with a user on the Discord channel named Bob. Shout out to this guy, he actually really helped me understand the mod. And obviously if anything's wrong here, or you just want to add anything, feel free to go ahead in the comments. He says, as far as I know, Photonics uses CPU side mod mixins to rebuild its RT Excel structure only when necessary, on chunk updates, which isn't really possible to do in something like Iris, which makes building the SDF it uses to achieve fast ray tracing a lot less costly than it would on an Iris pack. He says, well, it is possible to rebuild the SDF only where necessary in Iris, but I guess there would be a lot more overhead, and it'd be a lot more complicated, so no one does it. So for anyone who doesn't know what an SDF is, it stands for Signed Distance Field. It's basically just a geometric calculation. It makes ray-based effects like ray tracing much faster. Software RT Excel that is not HWRT, pretty much any ray tracer needs to have some sort of Excel structure, otherwise performance is going to struggle. But honestly, in this case, HWRT would probably actually be slower than what Photonics is currently doing, because as far as I know, Photonics only accounts for full blocks, not quads or tris. I can't remember if it does AABVS, but I digress. So in case you're confused, HWRT actually stands for hardware ray tracing. This is what Bedrock uses. Java is almost always software RT. I don't even think there's currently a mod that takes it to hardware RT yet because of the OpenGL limitations. But basically what this user is saying is the software RT built into Photonics is so well made that the hardware acceleration might not even be that much better. I'd love to see when a mod like VulkanMod actually adds shader support, because I'd love to test this theory. So according to this user, Photonics basically just uses the fastest possible method of ray tracing calculation, a perfect ratio of quality and playability, which is what makes this engine so amazing. And it's crazy how this all runs on OpenGL. OpenGL doesn't even have a dedicated ray tracing acceleration, which just makes this whole coding process 100 times harder. And I'm no developer, but I know straight up that shaders are not easy to code. So I'm truly amazed by this mod. Anyway, I'd love to hear y'all's opinion in the comments. Time for some gameplay.